What's going on, everyone? Today we're going to be ranking every single character from Squid Game. This is between all three of the seasons, just including like the main characters, of course. I'm not going to be ranking all the different side characters that don't really have a big role to play in the story. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, but these are like the main characters that have an importance to play in the story. I didn't make the tier list, so a couple of these characters, honestly, I don't remember that well, but we'll rank them anyways. We are ranking them on how interesting they are, how entertaining they are, how fun they are to watch, how good their story is, not based on whether or not they are a good or bad person. That's not how I do my tier lists for characters. Just purely it's based on how entertaining are they, how well written are they. That's the main appeal. So starting off with the main character, of course, being Gi-hoon, easily S tier. I mean, this is a no-brainer. Why would I not put him in S tier? But to be honest, I'd go as far as to say he's one of my favorite main protagonists of a TV show ever. Like, out of every TV show I've seen, he's definitely up there as one of the best protagonists. He is fantastic. Obviously, he started off as a character that you care a lot about because he has this daughter that he's trying to impress. He's trying to be there for her as much as he can, but he doesn't have a lot of money, and there's just everything going wrong in his life. And obviously, some of that was caused by himself because he's doing stuff like gambling, but regardless, he doesn't have money, and his ex-wife, who now has a new husband, does have a lot of money, and they're planning to even move to the United States. And so you see his struggles, you see what he's going through, and so you start caring for him. And then once he goes to the games, you realize that he has a big reason to want to come out of this, not only alive to see his daughter again, but also to just make win money so he can use it to help her. But even after season one, even after winning the game, he doesn't care because it's blood money, right? It's all just not something he wants to spend anymore because he feels like it wasn't earned in like a good, fair way. Obviously he does use it here and there, but he really just doesn't really care too much about it at that point, which was definitely an interesting thing for the character. And then season 2 rolls around, he wants to go back to these new games that he finds out is going on so he can try to stop it, which obviously doesn't succeed, and he ends up, spoiler, obviously, I'm assuming you've already seen all 3 seasons if you're watching this video, he of course dies in the end because he was stuck in a position where it was him or the baby, and he wasn't going to let that baby die. He made a promise, so he wasn't going to let it die. Of course, he's the S tier character, best character in the show. Like I said, one of my favorite protagonists of any show ever. Then we have Sang-woo. So Sang-woo was, I would say, the second most important character of season 1, or maybe like second or third, but he obviously had a big role to play. He was friends with Gi-hoon, and he was the other person who was at the very end of the game. He was there till the end with him. But it was really interesting because he obviously, like, they knew each other, but he always had like this distance away from Gi-hoon for a lot of the series, and for obvious reasons. And he ended up, I wouldn't say like necessarily, yeah, betray is the word. He betrayed a lot of his friends because at the end of the day, he did want to get out of this alive. He was in a lot of debt, and he obviously wanted to live too. So he betrayed Ali, which we'll get to him later. He then, betrayed Gi-hoon by killing player 67, which we'll talk about her in a little bit. And yeah, it's just definitely an interesting character. I wouldn't say he's a villain, but he kind of ended up being the antagonist of the show, at least of season 1, because of that. So I want to say he's definitely deserving of S tier. He was definitely one of the best parts of season 1, and definitely one of the most important characters to Gi-hoon's journey. Then we have Il-nam, the original frontman, I guess you could say. He decided he wanted to be a part of the season 1 games because he wanted to just have fun, experience it. He was gonna die soon, and that twist a lot of people didn't like because his end in that episode, like the fake out death they did for him, it was really emotional and was like one of the best parts of that entire season. So a lot of people didn't like the fake out death because it kind of like undermined that moment. But I don't think it undermined the moment at all, because at the end of the day, that moment was for Gi-hoon specifically. It was for him to experience, and he still went through that. He still had to deal with that, right? And live with that for the rest of the game. And so the twist that he was behind the games, I don't really think that was necessarily taken away from that moment, but I think it obviously means a lot for this character. He ended up being one of the most important characters of the whole show. So I think he deserves S tier as well. This show is filled with great characters, so definitely expect a lot of high tier ones, but these 3 I think are definitely the best of season 1 for sure. And season 2 had a lot of good ones, which we'll get to later, but definitely the best ones of that season. Now we got Ali, or Ali, I don't really know. Pronunciation, by the way, I'm probably not going to be great with it in this video. Obviously, there's a lot of names that I'm not too familiar with, so I'm going to try my best. But if, I can't pronounce them, just, forgive me. But Ali, I think, was definitely one of the better characters of season 1. He was one of the nicer characters. He was just like really like, oh, like so kind, like to literally everyone. And that's why it was so heartbreaking to see, you know, him get betrayed by Sang-woo in episode 6. But at the end of the day, you know, Sang-woo was just trying to win. I understand, but that was heartbreaking to see that happen. And I like that, you know, they even focused on that one story with his boss in episode 2 of season 1. And they give him a lot of development, I will say. Even though he's just in 6 episodes, they give him a lot of development. You really do care for him, which is why his moment was probably one of the best moments of the show. It was just so impactful. But yeah, definitely A tier for sure. Player 101, Duke Su. I'm probably not saying his name right. Like I said, some of these names I'm not too familiar with. I usually just called him Player 101. But he was probably one of the main villains of season 1, I would say. Yeah, definitely the main one. He was a big problem for a decent amount of it, especially for that first lights out night when everyone started attacking each other. He was like part of the group that was really initiating that most of the attack. So I would say as a villain, he was pretty good. He definitely was menacing. He was a guy that you hated, but the actor did a great job of being that person, being the person that everyone was just going to hate. And I really liked, and we're going to just rank her right next. I really liked his interactions with Neo. I mean, I'm probably not saying it right as well, but she is someone that I enjoyed a lot too, to be honest. I feel like her role in the story was not really, she wasn't really an antagonist, but she also wasn't really a protagonist. She was kind of just like in the middle, where her main interactions were with him. I'm not going to put her that high though. I'm probably going to put her in B tier, but I did really enjoy especially how her character ended her story by taking him out with her, by like, you know, jumping on her, him during the glass bridge game. But I also really love another moment with her that I really loved was the moment back in episode, I think it was episode 6 with the marble game, where she thought she was gonna, actually was it the marble game, or it might have been tug of war, I totally forget, but there was a moment where she couldn't join a group because nobody wanted to be in a group with her, and she thought she was gonna get killed because they like brought her out of the room and said, yo, you're an extra person, so you can't join this game. But she thought she was gonna get killed, and then she ended up not getting killed. They just let her skip that game. So I thought that was pretty insane for sure. I think that was the marble game that she skipped, and yeah, it was definitely the marble game, which, like I said, was an interesting character moment, definitely. And then we have player 67, Sai Byok. Hope I'm pronouncing that right. They even included her story, kind of continued into season 2 and 3 with her brother. So I thought that was pretty cool how they continued that. But she's obviously S tier as well. I mean, this is like, everyone talks about her. I feel like she's one of the most popular characters from this show. Like literally everyone talks about her, and deservingly so. I mean, she's definitely a very iconic character. She also lasted longer than most of the other characters. She was one of the last people there, unfortunately getting killed by Sang-woo in her sleep. That really sucked. But I really loved watching her. I think she had a lot of great moments. And like I said, especially her backstory with her brother, I think was really, really interesting. And I also wanted to just quickly get into the next character here, because I don't remember her name. I don't even know if her name is included in the list that I have here. I think it's Ji Young. Again, the pronunciation's not great. I really enjoyed this character, even though she was quite literally in like one episode. Like, I mean, obviously she was in the other episodes as well, but you didn't really get to see her in those other episodes. You were never really like noticing her. You only really started to notice her when she partnered up with player 67 in the marble game. But I think the reason I have to rate her really high is, I'm probably gonna go even A tier, is because her moment where she got killed and she was like, even a teardrop, she was so sad. One of the only moments in the show to make me cry. Like, there was a couple moments that made me tear up. That was one of the ones, because it was like her reaction to it. Like, she wanted to go out herself because she obviously had to be her or player 67, and so she decided to be the one because she didn't want player 67 to die. She felt like she had more to lose than her, so she was like, okay, I'll just let myself die here. But it was so sad because obviously she didn't want to die though. Like, she still was upset about it. She didn't want to leave the world. So it was such an emotional moment, and I think the actress did a great job. So I feel like she deserves A tier for sure. Then we have player 111, and he was a big character for season 1 because he had obviously heavy ties with the organ harvesting plot line of the series, and he was like the doctor that was like brought in to do that. So I mean, he was fine. I don't really think the character was that interesting, but I think, you know, for what it was okay. I do like that plot line of the show. So I mean, it was nice to have a character that was like a player be involved in that, and even getting like different special what's the word, like hints towards the games and stuff like that. Next up, we have Gi-hoon's daughter. Now this is a tough one because it's like, there's nothing wrong with her. Obviously, she's just Gi-hoon's daughter, but it's a character that obviously we don't get to see too much, so I can't really rank her that high. But obviously she's really important to the story. She's, you know, his main motivation of getting out of the games. Both, I wouldn't say both times, but definitely for the first time. But I mean, I would still say it's a motivation because he obviously wanted to see her again. But I do think they should have talked about her more, like especially in season 3. Like he maybe mentions her once. I kind of wish there was more reasons for her to be brought up. But I'm glad they brought her back for the final episode, though. I thought that was pretty cool. Then we have the VIPs, which I include this for season 1. And I'm not going to have these as separate characters because I don't care enough about the separate VIPs to include them as separate characters. So I'm glad they're just here as one character. In general, it's just the idea of the VIPs and just how they're implemented into the show. I think the concept of them is interesting. Like obviously showing these terrible people who want to watch these games and like bet on them and all this. And obviously that's terrible. But the thing I hate about these characters, and not from like a perspective of hating them as people, but hating them how they're written, is like the dialogue and acting is really bad. I don't know what it is, and I think a lot of people notice that in season 3 more than anything. I'm putting them in F tier because of that. I really am. And it was especially bad in season 3. Thankfully they weren't in season 2. I don't think they were at all, actually. Now I'm like, maybe they were like one scene, but I don't remember them being in season 2. But they were in season 1 and they were okay, and they weren't great, but they had their moments here or there. I think I liked them more in season 1. Season 3 though, oh my god, they were so bad. And I don't know what it is, but the acting and dialogue was just, they didn't sound human. They sounded like, I don't know. And I don't want to say it was the acting because I know a lot of people have been jumping to that conclusion that it's got to be the acting. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. It could have been just the dialogue. Like there's certain pieces of dialogue that they were saying. I don't think any actor could have made that sound good. Like it never sounded good. It always sounded so terrible. So it was just like, well, what are they going to do? And I really enjoyed season 3 of Squid Game. I did, but those VIP scenes were truly terrible. So I had to just include it there. I don't know. Again, I don't know what the problem was. Again, I don't know if it was the acting, or someone said that they might have dubbed over the voiceover, and that actually makes sense because I mean I watched the sub, I watched the version with subtitles, but someone said that some of the scenes, and I kind of understand what they're saying, it sounds like they dubbed over in English even though the characters obviously were talking in English before anyways. So it sounds weird. It's like, well, what's the point of doing it in English if they already were originally talking in English? I really have no idea. Someone said it might have been to like remove an accent or something, but I don't know. I just don't buy that. I don't know. But regardless, gotta go F tier. They're terrible. And I think if anything could have been taken out of the show, it could have been the VIPs, or at least like limit them. Like you didn't have to show them as much as they did. Showing that they exist is fine. That's cool. Do we need to have them in like every other scene? Like they kept cutting between the VIPs and the players in like the final couple episodes. Why? I don't need to see them every 2. Like include them for like the glass bridge game. That's fine. The jump rope game. That's fine. We did not need to see them during that final Squid Game, Sky Squid Game in season 3. We just didn't need to see them at all. Next up, we have the Recruiter. Honestly, just because of how incredible this guy's acting is, I'm putting him in A tier. It is so unbelievably good, especially in season 2, episode 1. That was like his episode. But there was like one shot where he had this face where like half of his face looked like confident and somewhat happy. The other half looked, you know, so scared, so terrified, so anxious, just lacking in confidence. And the fact that he was able to somehow do that with his face was the most like one of the most brilliant like acting expressions I've ever seen. A tier for sure. But obviously as a recruiter character, that's an interesting concept, having someone like recruit for the Squid Games. I don't know, I thought it was pretty cool. Yeah, definitely A tier. This character, genuinely don't remember who he is. If I don't immediately clock who it is, it's probably not a character I care that much about, so I'm putting him in D tier. But I feel like if someone told me, I would have been like, oh yeah, that's that character from that. But I don't think he played a big role. Next up, we have Junho. He's definitely one of my favorite characters because he's not even a player, yet he is like got a lot of screen time. So I'm actually going to put him in S tier, maybe even a bit higher. He plays a massive role in this show, especially in the 2nd and 3rd season. I mean, I guess even the 1st season, because he was like trying to like undercover, get into the game and see what's going on. And obviously, you know, there's a big importance to his brother being, you know, Inho, we'll talk about a little bit later, being at the frontman, the new frontman. But I really like the journey that he goes on as a character, just trying to find where his brother is. And I will say, I do think the ending was a little anticlimactic, and a lot of people mention this, like you had him finally get to the island and see his brother there, but I kind of wish they did a little bit more with it. I kind of get what they were going for though. They were going for this thing where like he went through all of this just to get to the island, just to find what his brother's been doing, and he didn't even get full answers because he had to quickly leave while the place exploded. and he probably never saw his brother again after that. So like he never really got the answers he was looking for. But I feel like it can be kind of interesting just because you see who he is, you see where he is. It at least gives confirmation that he is there, he is alive, and you kind of confirmation that he knows what kind of person his brother is, right? And therefore he maybe just stopped caring after that. He was trying to go there just to see like what the hell's going on, but he was able to see that clearly it's not good. And I guess he kind of already knew that, but that was like confirmation. And I get it, but I do wish there was a bit more to it. But regardless, the character is still great, so I'll give him full credit there. And then lastly, for season 1, we have Inho, the new frontman, and obviously he's also in season 2. He's a bigger role. He plays a bigger role in season 2. He's a top 2 character for sure. He's so good, such good acting from him, and I really love what they're doing with him in season 2. Every time I keep like talking about these characters, I'm like, I think they're the best in season 2, which I think goes to show. I think season 2 might be my favorite season. I think a lot of people have been kind of, ranking the seasons themselves. I think most people rank it season 1, then 2, then 3. I think I go season 1 or season 2, then 1, then 3. I'm not going to do a ranking video for the seasons, but just wanted to throw it out there randomly. But yeah, I mean, in terms of his performance and his character, I think he was at his best in season 2. So I definitely think he deserves S tier, and very complex character. But I love how he was going undercover, just like Ilnam in season 1, and just joining the games. And like one of the funniest moments is like, and people make memes about this all the time, but even in that game with the six-legged game that they were doing with all the different games, he was like cheering on, so happy. People were making memes about it, like, oh, even he forgot what game, even he forgot that he's like, the front man. He kind of just so immersed into the games that he was joining them and like excited to come along with everyone else. But it's really interesting, and I do think that if he lost any of the games, they probably wouldn't have killed him, just like with Ilnam, like they didn't kill him. So I don't think he was ever in full danger, but I do gotta wonder, like, how would that have worked then? I guess they would have just shot him with a blank or something, I don't know, just to make it look like he died in front of everyone. But that's why he wasn't part of red light green light, because that's, I don't know, I guess he could have still done red light green light, and he couldn't have, and they could have just not shot him regardless of if he moves or not. I don't know. Love his character though. Next up, we have season 2 characters, and obviously there's also season 3 characters here, because I guess there's season 2 and 3. Most of them are in both. Some of them aren't, of course. Starting off with, I believe this is Choi Woo Soyuk. Again, might be not pronouncing that properly, but this is like, I would say Junho's like friend, best friend at a certain point. I mean, they weren't friends before, but obviously they became friends because they were on the same task together to try and figure out what the hell's going on with these games. Obviously after what happened with his friend in that rock, paper, scissors, -1 game, which was really intense. Insane stuff. But just like a lot of these characters that we'll talk about soon, I mean, they played a pretty big role in season 2, and he did as well. He was in season 3, but not as much, I guess. Well, I liked his role in season 3 with like trying to find out more about Captain Park, and he ended up getting himself thrown in jail. But I think he deserves B tier just because he's, like I said, a really fun character. He's probably one of the funniest characters in the show, I would say. He's got a lot of funny moments, and I like that side of this story. I like that side of this. I know a lot of people don't. A lot of people are like, just the games are interesting, everything outside that sucks. I disagree though. I enjoyed seeing them trying to find out what's going on, even if it took them a long time. Like there was definitely a long period where they were trying to figure out all that. Captain Park himself, I'm gonna say B tier as well. I actually really like this character, like really interesting, just because it's interesting to see someone who used to be a guard then becoming just a regular person, but they're still like working with the front man. They're still working with that whole thing by helping him keep people away from the island. And in that case, he picked up Junho and got him the hell out of there, and basically was trying his best to try to avoid bringing them to the island. So I like that storyline that they did, and I like the way his character ended in season 3. So definitely appreciate that. This was the guy that was like with them, one of like the mercenary guys. I'll give him C tier. He's fine, but nothing really too interesting about him beyond that. Next up, we have Park Jun Bae, player 390. This was obviously another friend of Gi-hoon, but he wasn't. It was interesting because he wasn't in the first season as a player. He was in the first season just as his friend, and then he comes back in season 2. He's like, oh shit, I know you're Gi-hoon. Like he was like friends with him, and I thought that was really interesting. And I think I'm gonna give him, want to say A tier, but it's a tough one because he's obviously only in season 2. But yeah, I'll give him A tier. I liked him quite a bit. I'll put him right here. He was cool because obviously the way he ended, the way the character died, it was pretty sad just seeing what happened during the rebellion. But I like that Gi-hun had this really close friend here, and he was also like a funny character, I would say, and he was very nice, you know, grew a bond with a lot of different characters, which is what made his death so much more impactful. But he was really, really fun to watch in the games, I would say, especially like that moment in the Mingle game when he witnessed what Inho did. That was insane, just seeing that happen. So I personally enjoyed this character. I don't really have a lot to say about him. I think he was just overall fun to watch, and I would have liked to see more of him, but I think his death also worked for the story. Next, we got Daiho, which is the one, I guess I would say, honestly, like, he was so close with Jungbei in season 2. And then obviously coming into season 3, it was just, he turned into Gi-hun's target. But I actually like that character because the fact that, like, his downfall, he wasn't a villain, he wasn't evil, he was just cowardly, and that's very human. So like the fact that it was seen as this like awful thing, I didn't really see it as this like awful thing. I was just, again, it's just a matter of, that's just human. Like he froze up, he got scared, and that's understandable. But yes, it did lead to the death of Gi-hun's best friend. So Gi-hun was like, if I'm gonna kill anybody, might as well kill him. But it took him a while to do it. He really tried in the hide and seek game, and he couldn't do it until he started fighting back, and then it made it easier for him to kill him. So very interesting character, very interesting storyline, but I definitely enjoyed it quite a bit. Next up, we got player 333, also known as MG Coin, they called him, and I think Mungi, again, I'm probably not pronouncing it right. Myung-gi, I think that's actually how you pronounce it. But he was a character I was very surprised by, and I'm honestly only going to give him A tier because as much as I really, really enjoyed this character, like, you know, the turns that they gave him, I think he should have gotten a redemption arc. I think he would have been more interesting if they gave him a redemption arc. I think they were kind of going in that direction, and then they just kind of took it from him instantly because greed overtook and then made him, you know, do what he did in the final game. But I thought he was gonna have a redemption arc. I was really hoping. I think it would have been better because he was obviously making a lot of mistakes, doing a lot of terrible things. And after killing Hunju, player 120 in season 2 and season 3, I feel like that was where his redemption arc just kind of didn't. You couldn't have it after that. But even, no, to be honest, even after that, I thought it was gonna happen in the jump rope game. I thought he was gonna help out Junhee. I thought he was gonna get her past the side, and he just left her. He said, "Fuck it, I'm leaving her." I get he couldn't really convince her, but at the same time, I think it would have been better for the story if he somehow did convince her and helped her cross. And I think I would have liked the character more. Obviously, but as it was, he is still an entertaining character, a very well written character. The performance was amazing. The actor did an amazing job in that final game against Gi-hun, and this man literally led to the death of Gi-hun as well. Like, so sad to see, but definitely an important character that deserves credits. I just wish they gave him a redemption arc. I think he would have been S tier if they did. I love characters that get redemption arcs. I don't know, it's something that I think can be very well done if it's done right, of course. And now we have Junhee, player 222. Very interesting character, definitely getting to S tier because they gave her, I would even say higher than player 67, which might be kind of crazy to say, but I really enjoyed her because giving a character, I mean, making a character pregnant as the main like part of her story was so interesting because that's a big like thing to deal with in a game. Obviously, it's going to cause a lot of complications, and obviously that happened in hide and seek. I mean, she literally gave birth during the hide and seek game, so that was huge. And for that, I definitely think she deserves S tier just alone. Like, I'm not even kidding. Her character ended up being so important because of that. But they did have her last quite a while, and it was really sad to see her how she went because she thought if she didn't jump off the way she did, then Gi-hun would have gone back for her, and that would have been it. But I do wish she at least tried to go across the rope, but I just don't even think she wanted to try because she knew it just wasn't going to happen. So like I said, very sad, very emotional death, but great character regardless. I loved everything they did with her. A lot of good dialogue. Season 2, she was great too. So yeah, all around. But honestly, I think she was one of the characters that was better in season 3 than season 2. Like, she just got better and better as the episodes went along. And then we got player 120, Hunju, I think I'm saying right. She's great. They obviously gave her a lot to do. She was like probably one of the most badass characters. Like, it was like out of nowhere. I forget which game it was exactly. I think that was the Rebellion, right? That's when she was showing off like how damn good she is with a gun. Like, I guess because I think she had said she had military experience or something like that, and like she pulled out the MP5 and was just going off during the Rebellion. I'm actually gonna put her probably like right there, S tier. Yeah, that was insane. Obviously in season 3 she was very helpful in hide and seek and protecting Jung-hee. Unfortunately though, she did get killed, like I said. Very, very sad moment, but the character is great, and obviously having a transgender character was pretty interesting to include that in this game. And that was a conversation they had in season 2. They didn't talk about it much in season 3, but like I said, very interesting character, very interesting plot line, and definitely one of the nicer characters as well, I would say, out of like most of them. I would say like there's characters that were, there's like a spectrum of it, right? There's characters that are like nice 24/7 pretty much, and then there's characters who are just assholes 24/7, and there's like in the middle where it's like they'll do things to protect people, but like, and it might make them an asshole sometimes, but like it's in the name of protecting themselves or others, so it's not really a big deal. But then they're also nice in other moments, so it's definitely a spectrum there, but I would say she's closer on like the nice character spectrum. So let's leave it at that. I enjoyed her, and yeah, let's go to the next character, which unfortunately is a character that got killed in season 2, and it was probably one of the saddest moments of that season, man. Oh my god, with the Mingle game, that was insane. It was like the first like big death of season 2, I would say, because not a lot of characters died that season. Obviously they just cleaned house in season 3, but season 2 she did die during the Mingle game, and yeah, it was pretty sad. I don't remember her name though. I can't even find it on the list, unfortunately. Oh, it was Young Me, I think. Okay, there we go. Took me some time to find that name, but yeah, she was good. I'm not gonna put her that high though. She wasn't like great character by any means, but B tier seems good. It's just her death moment was definitely the most iconic of that season for sure. Then we have Jang Jemja, player 149, the mother. I really enjoyed her. I didn't like the way she went out though. It made sense for the story. She just lost her son and she felt she was to blame for it, but I really wish that they didn't have that happen with her character. But I'm still gonna give her A tier. She was great. Look how many characters are in S and A tier. This is not the type of show where you're gonna have many low rated characters, but yeah, she deserves A tier for sure. I freaking loved everything they did with her in season 2, and like I said, leading up to that moment, but I just didn't like the way they killed her off. I think she would have been even higher, maybe even an S tier, if they didn't kill her off that way. But again, it wasn't like, it was realistic. It made sense. There's gonna be people who are gonna kill themselves in these games, and she was someone that she didn't want to go through the rest of the game. She didn't want to deal with it, but I still wish they did something else with her character. And then of course her son, player 7, Young Seek. I think I'm gonna go with A tier as well, probably like right next to her. I mean, they're kind of like a package deal. I would say like anything that's good about him is just as good about her. Like they basically are a package deal. And that's, I guess, one of the reasons that they had her killed off in the episode literally right after he dies. His death was emotional. I would say one of the more emotional moments of the show as well. I mean, when you have characters that are related, that's obviously going to cause more emotion than anything. But yeah, really enjoyed both those characters in season 2 and in season 3. Then we have Gyeong Soyok, player 246, the father of the sick girl, the sick little girl from the hospital. I really enjoyed what they did with this character, especially because he actually had a happy ending. There wasn't much depth to this character, I would say. Like, you don't learn a ton about him beyond that, but I still really enjoyed him, especially because someone we'll talk about in a little bit was like trying so hard to protect him and get him out of there safely, and the fact that he did was really cool. But I'm gonna put him in A tier. Definitely a character that deserves some credit. I wish he was in even more of the show, to be honest, because I really like the actor. But yeah, I just was happy to see a character escape and like live, I thought that was really cool. Now this girl, honestly don't know her name, and she was literally only in like one episode because she died in the red light green light game, but I feel like it was a pretty iconic death, just the way it happened with the bee. So I'm gonna give her D tier, probably right there. But I mean, you can't really rank her that high just because she was only in one episode. Thanos though, oh my goodness, dude. Thanos, one of my favorite characters of the show. I'm putting him in S tier. I'm talking like top of S. Because look, I don't know what it was. He was funny. He had charisma. There was like something about his character that was just very fun to watch. He was obviously a villain. That was his main purpose in the story. He was very villainous, not a good person. But I wish he stayed alive, man, because watching him in season 3 would have been so much fun. But of course, they killed him off with the fork moment, which was really iconic. But dude, he was so much fun to watch. I can't get over how good his scenes were. He was so funny. Like the Mingle game, he's literally dancing in a circle with his friend. Like, that's like, come on, man, it's just it's too good. So yeah, I have to give him credit there for being just such an entertaining character to watch, and that's why he's getting S tier. And then here's his friend, which his friend was actually pretty good in season 3. I would say like season 2, I didn't care that much about him, but well, I didn't really care about him at all, like in terms of, you know, caring for him, but in terms of the character being entertaining, season 3, he was much more of a focus because Thanos wasn't around anymore. But I'm only going to give him, I'm going to say B tier. He was definitely an interesting character, but I don't know. I feel like I can't give him that high. So now we have a Semi, player. I think it was 380, was it? From season 2. She only had like a little tiny appearance in season 3 from a hallucination moment. But I don't really think she was that great. She had her moments, but I can't put her too high. Obviously, she was someone who was nice to, I'll give her B. I think she deserves B. She was nice to Minsu. I think that he had a lot of moments with her, which let's just talk about Minsu right away. Minsu might be one of the most surprising characters of this show. I'm not going to put him S tier, but I think he deserves A tier. I was so shocked to see how much they were going to give this character going into season 3. Like, he stayed alive way longer than I was expecting. The fact that he actually made it to the final game was insane. And unfortunately, the way he died, it was quite messed up. The way he got pushed off, but he had such a great arc. He was trying to become less cowardly because he felt like he was a coward for watching Semi die and not doing anything about it. And he ended up stepping it. I would say he ended up just, well, no, he started taking the drugs to try to like loosen that anxiety and be less of a coward. But obviously the drugs cause other problems, which I thought that was an interesting way to show drug use and how it can affect people differently. Because when someone like Thanos took the drugs, it was like whatever, right? It was kind of just like making him more excited and energetic and stuff because he's used to that. But Minsu is not used to that, so he's taking these drugs and it's messing him up. It's making him emotional. It's making him hallucinate in ways that are definitely not helpful in the games. So I thought that was definitely an interesting thing to do with the character. So that's why I'm giving him A tier. This guy, I do not remember him whatsoever. Sorry, dude. You're going D tier because I don't remember you. We got player 100 from season 2 and 3. He was obviously one of the villains. I feel like compared to other villains we've had, he's not that interesting. I'm honestly going to give him B tier. I think you could have had a much better villain, like season 1 had a much better villain with player 101, but he was okay. I do find it interesting that the two like main villains, oh, I guess Thanos might have been the main villain, but the two like main villains of each of these seasons was 101 and 100. I thought that was interesting, but regardless, definitely not too interesting of a character. We have player 44 up next. I feel like her role in the story was quite unexpected, just her being this person who has these, I assumed she actually had religious beliefs, but it felt like, at least in season 3, they kind of showed that it was not real. Like she was faking it the whole time to try to get people on her side and believe her and stuff and then follow her. But I thought that was cool, so I'll give her B tier. I really liked her in the hide and seek game. That was really fun to watch, and of course that's where she died as well. But she's definitely a character that deserves some credit. I just wouldn't put her too high though. Next up we have Noel. I again don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but this is the guard from season 2 and 3, the one that was trying to free player 246. I think she's one of the best characters, which I wasn't expecting that, seeing someone who was introduced in season 2. I mean, she had a big role in season 2. Like even before the games, they showed her a lot and we all thought she was going to become a player, but she ended up just becoming a guard, and that was cool to see because it's cool to like the inner workings of the guards. But she ended up completely foregoing her guard duties and trying to help 246 escape because she obviously she saw his daughter and she didn't want his father or her father to be killed. So really love this character, really definitely think she's deserving of S tier. The rest of the characters here, obviously this is like the leader of the whole harvesting organ operation, so I'll give him C tier. I wouldn't say he's that great. Then these rest of these characters, these are just random guards. I don't remember them too much, to be honest. I think I don't think they had a big role to play in the story as far as I'm aware. Some of them, I guess, I remember their scenes, but they weren't huge characters, so I'm not gonna rank them any higher than that. And that's gonna do it for the tier list. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody's gonna agree with the majority of this tier list or not. I feel like most of this is probably popular opinions, but who knows? There might be some hot takes in here. I don't think I did anything too crazy with the ranking, but I'm pretty proud of this. I think this goes to show that Squid Game has some incredible characters. This is like such a solid series of characters. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you want to see my Squid Game reactions, don't forget to check those out on YouTube. I'll see you on my next one. Peace out.